Hey, you've got to do it sometime, am I right? Oh my god, this is awful. Okay, well, I got a lot of manga. Probably like 60 volumes-ish. So let's just get right into it. I don't want this video to be super long, and I'm sure you guys don't want to listen to my voice forever. Platinum End by Oba and Obata, the authors of Death Note, Bakuman. What else did they write? No one really cares about the rest of it. But this is their new series. I finally got volume 1. It's been out for a while. But I've heard mixed things about it. Gotta admit, I really like that cover. That's pretty dope. I've heard it's good. I've heard it's not good. I've heard it's a waste of time. I've heard it gets really bad really quick. I don't know. We'll just have to see. It's very clearly in their style. The art looks really good. I don't know anything about it though, aside from it's got a really shiny, pretty cover, so I hope it's good. It might not be. If it's not, I can always throw it in the trash. I'm just kidding, I don't throw manga in the trash. Okay, next up. This is a really massive book. I just now realized I can barely hold it up. It's Blame, Book 3. I have books 1 and 2 up there somewhere. I think there's 5 total, and once I've got 4 and 5, I will start reading it. I've never read anything by Tsutomu Nihei, but I've heard he's an amazing mangaka. He does sci-fi. Well, yeah, just sci-fi. And I really like sci-fi, so I think I'll like this one. Okay, and then next up we've got some alternative manga, and if you don't know what alternative manga is, it's basically manga that's not written for your run-of-the-mill manga audience. It's very dark, adult, underground, usually depressing, sometimes strange and psychedelic stories. Think Osamu Tezuka. He was involved in the alternative manga movement for a while there, and another big one is, oh my gosh, what's his name? Yoshihiro Tatsumi. I haven't read anything by him yet, but I've got one of his books in the haul today. So let's just get started with All My Darling Daughters. All My Darling Daughters. Oh my gosh. By Fumi Yoshinaga. This one is a josei, which means it's actually aimed at adult women. So it's aimed at me, I guess, but I don't know. It's like a series of short stories. I'm currently reading it, as you can see by my obnoxious dryer sheet, but it's okay. I mean, it's nothing too special, but you can't really expect much from a really short volume of short stories, so I'll give it a pass. Next up, we've got Guardians of the Louvre and A Distant Neighborhood, both by Jiro Taniguchi. Now, Guardians of the Louvre is an interesting one. Let me try to show you. Don't fall, please. Please don't fall. Okay. This one is actually in full color, which is very unique for a manga. And I actually learned that it was commissioned by the Louvre Museum for him to write. So this isn't like a story from his heart that he really wanted to tell. It's a story he did as part of a commission, which is probably why I don't find it to be that amazing. I mean, if you're interested in the Louvre, if you've been to the Louvre, it's really interesting because it is exactly, reading through it, it's exactly like walking through the Louvre. I've been there, and reading through it, I felt like I was there again. It's literally panel for panel exactly what the Louvre looked like. But that's really all it has to offer. I mean, it doesn't have much in the way of story. It's kind of just a psychedelic adventure through the Louvre Museum, learning about the history, learning about the artists who painted some of the more famous works of art, like Leonardo da Vinci, for example. But aside from that, it's really short, not much happens. It's not his best. To the left of that, we have A Distant Neighborhood, and that one was much better. This one is actually, you can tell that it comes from his heart, that it's a story he really wanted to tell. I've heard it even has references to his own life in it, although I could be wrong. I could be thinking about something entirely different. But this is about a man who magically gets transported back to his past, so back to his childhood, and he gets the opportunity to relive his childhood during a very pivotal year, because it's the year that his father abandoned his family. And he doesn't understand why his father would do that, but throughout this story, he tries to stop him from leaving. And we learn more about why he did it, what he was thinking, and it ends up being kind of like a way for the main character to really connect with his father and to learn to understand him and why he would have done the things that he did. So, I don't know. I'm not a father. I'm not a man in general, so I don't think I was really the target audience for this work, but I still really enjoyed it. I thought it was beautiful. Okay. And then next up, we have Stargazing Dog. Look at that little doggo. Look at that little doggo. And then imagine all the horrible things that could happen to this doggo. That's basically what the story is about, I think. I haven't read it yet. I'm waiting for an opportunity to read it. A good opportunity to read it, because I don't want to be depressed right now, but I'm pretty sure it's sad. Just keep that in mind. Next up we have Yoshihiro Tatsumi, who I mentioned earlier. I haven't read anything by him yet. This one's The Pushman and Other Stories. So it's just a collection of short stories, underground, alternative manga, classic stuff. Look at that art. That is some classic art. Look at that face. Look at it. Yeah, I'm done with that one. Next up, we have Osamu Tezuka, Ode to Kirihito, Part 1 and Part 2. I've read some Tezuka stuff before, and I have to say this is probably my least favorite story that I've read by him. It was interesting. I'll give it that. It was very bizarre. It's about a disease that can turn humans into dog-like creatures that you see here. And that's basically it. I mean, it's a medical thriller, meaning they're trying to find out what is causing this disease. It's very sexist. Strangely enough. I mean, not really strange since it was written in, I believe, the 60s. Let me see. I don't know. It doesn't say. I think it was written in the 60s. So it's kind of sexist. One of the main characters is a rapist. And the women that he assaults don't seem to really care that they're being assaulted. So, I mean, it has that going for it. Yeah, I mean, it was good. It's very dialogue heavy. Let me see if I can find a good example. See, look at all that dialogue. It took me a long time to read this, mostly because it has so much dialogue in it. But it didn't leave me with any lasting impressions, really. It was enjoyable. It was very weird. It made me laugh in times because it was so weird, and I think it was meant to be comedic. If not, I'm just a really messed up person who laughs at really inappropriate things. But yeah. If you're wanting something bizarre and old to read, Osamu Tezuka is your guy. Next up, and this is a very strange cover, Seventh Garden by Mitsu Izumi. I know absolutely nothing about this one. The cover is kind of turning me off a bit. But honestly, I bought it because the spine is really pretty. I don't know if you can see that. The spines, I actually bought this one in Barnes & Noble, I think, and they were all lined up together, and they all have like these really pretty watercolor faces on them, and I thought they were really cool, so that's why I bought this. I have no idea what it's about. I'm kind of put off by the cover, but I'm probably going to buy a couple and then read them and see if I like it. Next, I got A Bride's Story. Don't fall. 1 and 2. This is one I've had on my list for a while now. I've heard it's really good. It's about an older girl, I think she's maybe 18 or so, and she has to marry a boy who I believe is like 10 years old, and it's a story about her culture and her marriage to this young boy and how they're going to deal with that. Now, it's not a sexual relationship, I hope, but I don't know, it just seems really interesting to me. Let me try to show you some of the art. The art is really good in it. Really detailed. I don't know if you can see that very well. This is a very awkward camera angle. But yeah, just really detailed artwork. And these are really pretty hardcover books. So, I'm excited to get more of those and then read it. Next up, I know this video is really long. I have a lot of manga here. Next up, I've got Haikyuu. 3, 4, 5, oh my gosh, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Woo, don't fall, please. I've already got 1 and 2. I haven't started reading yet, but I'm sure I'm gonna like it. I played volleyball all of my life, and this is a volleyball manga, which is something you don't see very much of in sports manga, so I'm excited. There's already 25 volumes out in Japan. I don't know how many they plan to make all in all, but let's hope not too many, because I don't want to buy like 40 volumes. Okay. Next up, Sand Chronicles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 copies of Volume 5. I have doubles because I'm an idiot and I added it to my cart twice and didn't realize that I was paying twice for like 2 or 3 volumes, so there you go. Would you stay, please? Now, disclaimer, I don't really read shoujo manga, which is manga aimed at girls, but I heard that this one was good. I heard it's more mature. I've heard it's, you know, not as fluffy and heartwarming as some of the others because, let's face it, my heart is cold as ice and I don't give a crap about that. So, I really like depressing stuff. Don't know if you could tell, but... And then next up, I've got High School Debut. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here we go again. 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm running out of room here. 12 and 13. Oh. And 2. I have every volume except 1, which is out of print. This is one of those high school romance series which I'm totally not into at all, but I heard that this one was an exception and that this one is very good. So let's hope so. Maybe this can change my opinion of shoujo manga. Now let me get them all off real quick. Sorry about that. There we go. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, and then finally, I have some manga that are actually on the shelf in front of you. A lot of these are new. Down here, got Gyo, or Gyo, I don't really know how it's pronounced, by Junji Ito. It's a horror manga. Also got Uzumaki, which I've already read. It was one of the first manga I ever read. I originally had the 3-volume set of that, but I sold it to get this nice hardcover, which is Really nice. I really like it. I haven't read Gyo yet, but I'm excited to try this one out. So there's those. And then next up we have Goodnight Pun Pun, Volume 5, my favorite manga of all time. I originally read this online when it had first finished publishing in Japan, and I completely fell in love with it. I was in tears at the end. I was in tears probably for hours after I read it. It's the only manga that's ever made me cry. I'm not a crier. Like I said earlier, my heart is cold as stone. So, this is a good one. And this is volume 5. I think there's going to be 7 in total, and then once I get 6 and 7, I'm going to unwrap these and read it all over again. Okay, next up, I actually got every single volume of Master Keaton on eBay in like new condition for $35 for all of that, which is a really awesome deal. This is by Naoki Urasawa. He did the art. Someone else did the story. Hakusei Katsushika. Takashi Nagasaki. That's all one person? I don't really know. Either way, I'm excited to read it. It probably will be a while before I read this one. I have a lot of other things to read. And I don't think it's finished. I don't think this is complete. I think there's at least 2 more volumes after that, but I'm not sure. Let's see. Pluto. Again, I got every single volume of Pluto for $35 from the same seller. I'm actually reading this one right now. I am on volume 4, which is this one. Oops. I'm on volume 4. So far, so good, as you should expect from Naoki Urasawa. He's a really great writer. He did Monster, 20th Century Boys. I really liked Monster a lot. I thought it was really good. Obviously, I only have 1 volume because they're expensive, and I couldn't get this one for $35. So, eventually I'll complete it, but not anytime soon. And then finally, I got What a Wonderful World, Volume 2, by Inio Asano, the same author as Goodnight Pun Pun. I didn't mention that earlier. But obviously my favorite author, my favorite mangaka. He wrote my favorite manga of all time. And I'm really excited to have this one because I've had Volume 1 for like a year or 2. And I can finally read it, and maybe it'll make me cry. Who knows? And I think that's it, guys. That's everything I got for the month of April. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a thumbs up, leave a comment, leave your full name, credit card number, address, share this video on Facebook, Twitter. Yeah, so I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you next time.